What is going on, guys? This is Miasin. So it's been like almost a month since the ban list, I believe. I already forgot. And I remember uploading like a Thunder Dragon Bystial Horus combo video as soon as the ban list dropped. Well, a few days later, and I promised you guys a spreadsheet video if the video could get 1,000 likes, which we managed to get, so huge thanks to you guys. And it took me quite a long time to build these combos because this deck is rather complicated. And the combos are not linear whatsoever. Like, you have to study pretty much every single small interaction between the cards and try to figure out, like, what are the best ways of sequencing your hands. So I was able to learn this deck quite a lot while making this video. And I really want to share my knowledge with you guys about this deck because if any of you is interested in summoning Colossus this format or next format or whatever, I believe that this is by far the best deck to be able to do that because this is the one combo deck that is just insanely consistent, super powerful, but also it just beats Shifter and other hand traps like that because the other combo decks, they all lose to Shifter. They don't really do much when you get Shifted, but this deck, when it gets Shifted, you give a big hug to your opponent because your Thunder Dragon monsters, they want to get banished, so it's literally beneficial for you. Anyways, today I'll show you guys 8 combos as well as the deck profile, and of course the combos will all be in the pinned comment in the comment section, so yeah, check them out if you want to skip forward to like a specific combo that you are interested into. Anyways, before we go any further, friendly reminder to smash the like and subscribe button, and also go check out my coaching because I offer that on Learn TCG, so link will be in the description box below. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so combo number 1 is just a reminder that you can full combo with 3 cards if you are uninterrupted with Solar, Assault Synchron, and Bystial Lubellion. This is the only combo that basically I'm not getting hand trap. The other ones I'm always showing through hand traps. But this is just to show you what happens when you are not getting a hand trap, because sometimes your opponents have board breakers, but board breakers do absolutely less than nothing against this deck because you're going to be hand looping the shit out of your opponent. And also, you're always beating Nibiru like inherently in this deck, so there's no such thing as playing into Nibiru. Anyways, we're going to be going into an Omega now because we went into Martial Metal Marcher, which revives back Assault Synchron. This is nothing new. And then Axial Synchro, revive back the Assault Synchron. And then the Spouter, revive back the Omega from the Banish, so that's a double hand loop. It's kind of nasty. And Lubellion, get rid of the Spouter, revive back the revive back the Spouter with the Assault Synchron, and then Lubellion plays the Regained. And then we're going to be going Omega effect. And if we banish the Diabellstar, we can also draw one card with that Regain, but we got unlucky. But it's fine. And then IP Masquerena, link off, and then revive back the Colossus with, well, summon the Colossus off of the monster that we revive back off of the Hawk. And then we can end our turn like that. So it's a lot of interruptions, you know, Colossus, IP into SP, the Spouter. There's no way anyone can win against this. And if you have, like, board breakers, again, they do literally less than nothing because we hand loop for a lot of cards. We still have a Bystial monster in our hand. We have Regain that can summon back a monster. There's just no way I can imagine anyone losing with this kind of setup. But anyways, that's it for this one. Let's get into combo number 2. Okay, so what happens when your hand is garbage like this, right? Thunder Dragon, Dark, Regained, and Saronir, and your opponent has, let's say, Droll, Nibiru, and a way to play the game. You can win because on the draw phase, you get to search with the Darks to play around the Droll and Logbird. And then activate the Regain, banish with the Saronir, and then you draw one card, and then you're going to get Drolled, but that's completely fine. Assuming that we draw a card that searches a search card or whatever. Summon the Colossus in less than 5 summons because that's only 2 summons. Setting a monster doesn't count as a summon for Nibiru, by the way, because it only counts normal and special summons. And setting a monster is not considered a normal summon, even though it does take up your normal summon. So yeah, I also realized there's not a lot of ways for the Snake Eye deck to beat Colossus. It's really rough, honestly. If they have, like, Diabellstar, it's not enough. If they have got, like, Wanted, it does nothing. Bonfire does nothing. Snake Eye Ash does literally nothing. They need multiple cards in their hand to go into, like, an SP, banish that, or, like, evolve Snake Eye Ash into Flamberge, place it in the Spell and Trap zone, and you can easily deal with that because you're not just ending on Colossus, you're doing a lot more. The only thing that you really have to be afraid of are the hand traps. But again, even, like, the weak hands, they don't really lose to hand traps all too much. So yeah, very nice and simple. Let's get into the next one. Okay, so with this hand, I have Batteryman Solar as well as Lubellion. My opponent has Effect Veiler as well as Nibiru, but again, Nibiru doesn't really do much when you don't have to summon like 10 billion times. So yeah, normal summon Solar effect, and then I'm gonna get Veiler. That's completely fine. Activate Lubellion, search the Magnamut, and because of the fact that this was Veiler and not Imperm, I can banish that, and then summon the Magnamut, and then get my search, and then Lubellion, plays the Regained, and then end on IP with a Bystial search. And that's honestly a lot. That's still 3 interruptions. Because if your opponent goes like normal summon Snake Eye Ash effect, we can deal with pretty much everything that comes out of this Snake Eye Ash off of just this setup. And we can also search with the Magnamut on the end phase, so we have a follow-up play for next turn. So we can go SP, banish the Snake Eye Ash, and then Druid's Worm, send the Populace to the graveyard. My opponent can like set it, like place it in the spell and trap zone, but that's fine. Even if our opponent searches the original, we still have the SP to like banish again, the double Farfa-esque effect, so we still have another interruption through all of that, which is just way too much to deal with for honestly any deck. This is still a very good setup considering the fact that we got Veilered, we only had 2 cards, and we didn't have to summon 5 or more times, so the Nibiru was completely useless. Okay, so this is where the combos start getting a lot more explosive, because this time I have 3 cards in my hand. Batteryman Solar, Assault Synchron, and Druid's Worm, and I'm gonna be getting Veilered on the Solar. But this time it's going to be really, really good for me, because, again, assuming that this is Veiler and Imperm, there is a huge difference. We are not going to be banishing that Veiler with the Druid's Worm, otherwise we can't really do much of anything. We're going to be going into Assault Synchron, and then Manadome Chilosogda, which was already in the extra deck, so it's not like it's a gimmicky card that you're only playing for this situation. And then we're going to be reviving back the Assault Synchron, and then banish our own Solar with the Druid's Worm. And then we're going to be going into Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon, revive back the Axel Synchron, and this is where it gets completely cracked, because I believe the average player cannot think of the next play that we're going to be doing. If you were in this position, what would be your next monster that you would be summoning? Would you summon like a level 10 Synchro monster like the Spatter, revive back the Solar, or make like a Chaos Angel with this, like I mean with the Solar and the Chilosogda, so you end on the Spatter Chaos Angel? Or would you do something else? And the correct answer is do something else. We're going to be going into Lina and then revive back the Effect Veiler. Now, what would you do here? Would you link off into like Celine when there is no spellcasters in grave? Would you make an Appaloosa for 3 and call it a turn? Would you make an IP Masquerena? And the answer is none of the above. As a matter of fact, we're not even going to be making a link summon here, because we can overlay for an Xyz monster. Yes, we can summon an Xyz monster with the monsters on our field, even though this is unbelievable. This is one of the very few situations where just reading your cards and not being an average Yu-Gi-Oh player really pays out. We're going to be going into Zombie Vampire, because this card has the stipulation that if you use a monster with a level that is owned by your opponent, for the Xyz summon of this card, treat it as a level 8. So Veiler, again, huge difference between Veiler and Imperm, because Veiler can also be summoned off of Lina, and Veiler is a monster with a level. You can use it for Zombie Vampire, so you don't really lose too hard to Veiler in this deck. And then Zombie Vampire can get your stuff going from there. If we mill a Thunder Dragon, we can revive back. And then go into Celine. We also milled Imseti, so now we've got a Spellcaster. And then summon off of the Roar. Celine can revive back the Imseti to turbo out the Appaloosa. And then go into an SP Little Knight or an IP Masquerena, whatever. And then summon, or rather search with the Dark that we summon off of the Roar, and then go into Colossus just like that through Effect Veiler on your normal summon. Okay, so right here, my hand has a lot of cards, but my opponent also has a very good hand, right? Imperm, Ash, Fenrir, Snake Eye, Ash, Diabellstar. I'm still going first, right, with Solar, Imseti, Lubellion, Dark, and Axel Salt Synchron. So first things first, normal summon Solar Effect, Imperm, not Veiler, so that actually hurts a lot. And then Dark Effect, I'm not going to be getting hit by an Ash. And then Imseti Effect, and now I'm going to be getting Ashed on the Imseti, which does hurt quite considerably. But it's completely fine, we can still play the game just pretty much almost the exact same way, because Lubellion search the Magnamut, and then banish the Dark, and then Effect, and then summon Assault Synchron. I keep freaking messing that up, it's so annoying. Anyways, revive back, summon the Spatter, and then Lubellion, banish, revive back the Spatter, and then place the Regain on the field. And then link off into IP Masquerena, revive back the Thunder Dragon Dark from the banished, and then summon the Colossus and face search. And that is still insane. That's all you really need to win. How is my opponent beating this? This is ridiculous. Okay, so another combo, assuming that I have Batteryman Solar as well as Druid's Worm, my opponent has Nibiru. I can guarantee Colossus through that Nibiru regardless. So send the Roar and then banish it in order to summon the Druid's Worm, summon the Dark, as well as summon a token. And this is where it gets a little weird. So you have to link summon using the correct monsters. So we're going to be getting rid of the token as well as Solar for the IP Masquerena. And we're going to be getting Nibiru here. It's really important that we were linking off these two monsters, because we want to play around both Ash and Nibiru. And the best way to do that is by keeping Druid's Worm and Dark on the field, because when we do get Nibiru, we can chain block and also send the Nibiru with the Druid's Worm, so our opponent is not even going to start with a monster on the field. and we get to Surge the Hawk and still guarantee Colossus, because otherwise we're going to be going to Napaloosa in order to beat the Nibiru. So yeah, regardless of whether your opponent has Nibiru or not, if you have this combination of 2 cards, you're always going to be able to end on Colossus through Nibiru or Napaloosa as an added bonus with the regained and, you know, cards in hand and stuff like that, which is, you know, a little disgusting. It's crazy, man. This deck just does a lot, and obviously my opponent is going to draw even more search cards. That's what we want to see. Yo, Thunder Dragon best deck, huh? Alrighty, so another complicated combo in a way. I have Upstart Goblin, Hawk, as well as Happy, Roar, and Druisworm. Not the best hand. And I have to yet again beat the Droll as well as Nibiru, but my Upstart is going to be drawing into a good card, which is a Sarcophagus, and now I'm going to be getting hit by the Droll. Sarcophagus, pitch the Happy, send to Amutef, and then summon Zombie Vampire. This is 3 summons. And then detach, revive back the Saronir, and then go into the Dark, and then send the Magnamut with the Saronir. Revive back the Abelstar. My opponent has no reason to Nibiru me yet, because there's no reason, there's no way I can threaten Appaloosa, so might as well wait. Send the Happy with the Sarcophagus, and then when I go into Selene, I can revive back. So that's really important, because it's a spellcaster monster that you always have access to. And then my opponent is 100% forced to Nibiru me here, because otherwise I'm going to summon Appaloosa. And I actually do not care about that, because I can summon the Druisworm now, and then Lubellion effect, summoning condition, and then send the Druisworm, so I can also send the Nibiru. And then please the Regained Hawk, revive back the Roar, and then link off into IB Masquerena, and this is where it gets really interesting. We're under Droll, so we can't search. But we can still get a follow play for next turn, because the Roar is going to be summoning the Hawk, and on the end phase, it goes back to the hand. And we also summon back that Imseti that we never summon, so if our opponent wants to, I don't know, like, destroy one of our cards, we can also send one of his cards. And IP can immediately go into SP without even like requiring our opponent to normal or special to play into regain. So this is more proactive, and we still have Colossus on the field again through Droll and Nibiru. So those handtraps, they really just do less than nothing. And also Veiler does nothing, Shifter does nothing. Only Ash and Imperum can hurt this deck, but yet again, we can still play around them. Alrighty, so this is the final combo. My hand is yet again very sus. I have Thunder Dragon Dark, way too many Bystial monsters for my liking, and Assault Synchron. No Batteryman Solar to be found, because, you know, sometimes you draw it, sometimes you don't draw it. It is what it is. But my opponent has Nibiru as well as another very good hand, but it doesn't matter because we can still win. So yeah, main phase, Lubellion Surge the Magnamut, and then Dark Surge the Dark, obviously. And then Magnamut banish the Dark in order to summon itself, and then Lubellion plays the Regain, blah blah blah, you know those steps. And then summon Assault Synchron, and this is where it gets, again, very interesting, summon the Dispatter. And we're not going to be using Dispatter's effect because we really want to beat Nibiru. So there's something very smart that we can do now. So summon the Druisworm, and then Tribute set for Thunder Dragon Dark, and then, well, I was gonna say Link off because Colossus kind of feels like a Link one, but summon the Colossus with the Dark, and then we can pass turn there. And then end of main phase, if our opponent has Nibiru, he has to Nibiru us here. And we're gonna be like, you know what, that's completely fine. So regain, revive back the the Druisworm. And then Assault Synchron, banish itself, revive back the Dispatter because a Dragon Synchro on the field was tributed or banished. So it's the worst Nibiru I've ever seen in my life, but it's about to be even worse. Because now I'm going to be going to IP Masquerena, and then Druisworm send that Nibiru, so my opponent is yet again starting with 0 monsters for his turn. And then the Bystial Baldric is going to be banishing the Thunder Dragon Colossus, and the Regain will put it back in the extra deck and draw 1 card. And with a coincidence, I'm drawing a Hawk, even though even if I didn't, it wouldn't be that bad, because I can still summon back the Dark with the Dispatter. But since I drew the Hawk, I might as well summon back the Assault Synchron, and then go into Omega and rip another card off of my opponent's hand, and then go into Hawk and then summon Colossus again. Even though it is limited, I was able to loop it back into the extra deck. So we got Nibiru'd, and our end board is even better now. This is ridiculous. We have like an extra IP on top and an Omega rip, and our opponent has no monsters on field and 1 less card in hand through Nibiru, like, used correctly, really. So this is honestly beautiful. If I was able to figure that, I'm sure you're gonna be able to figure it even better on your own. And obviously, the more support we get for this deck, the better it'll end up being. But anyways, that's it for the combos. Let's get into the deck profile now. Alrighty, so for the deck list, I didn't change that much since last time, but I still, you know, changed a few things. So first of all, for the starters, we're playing the exact same amount. So 3 Solar, 3 Lubellion, 3 Imseti, 3 Sarcophagus, 3 Small World. Really want to max out on consistency. So you draw like you know, like a combination of these cards with Assault Synchron as well, and you can just do so much. So a lot of cards that allow you to keep, that allow you to play the game. The difference is that I used to play Imperm before, but I replaced it with Upstart Goblin because you're not really playing cards like Ash, Veiler, and stuff like that, and Nibiru that you really have to draw in your opening 5. So if you upstart, even if you upstart into Bystial monsters, they're still extenders, so they're fine. It's better than Danger Monsters because other than Bigfoot, Thunderbird, and Ogopogo, they serve no purpose because they're not level 8, so you can't go into Zombie Vampire. What are you gonna do with the Danger Monsters? Summon like an IP or a Dark? That's not really good. They're always neg ones. Anyways, for the Thunder Dragons, 3 Dark, obviously 2 Roar, 2 Hawk. In theory, you might be able to cut down Dark to 2, Roar to 1, Hawk to 1. That's definitely possible if you really want to like play the least amount of Thunder Dragon cards as possible. But for the Bystials, I believe that Saronia is the second best after Lubellion because it actually has an effect, you know, Foolish Lubellion, so that you can summon it back and then get the regain on the field. And then, well, obviously 1 Magnemite, 1 Joazor, 1 Weldrake, and only 1 regain, not 2 regained, and no Branded Beast either because it is a brick and a half. And the other horse monsters, Happy and Duamutef. If you really want to play less bricks again, you can play with only the Happy or the Duamutef, but not all 3 of the horse monsters. And finally, double copies of Triple Tactic Talent and Call by the Grave. Talent is particularly good in this deck because you can steal monsters and then your opponent's monster can be used for Zombie Vampire. Same thing with like Lina and Dark. So sometimes you can make Zombie Vampire using no monsters that belong to you, which is kind of filthy. Anyways, for the extra deck, we are obviously on the 1 Thunder Dragon Colossus Chaos Angel. Really easy to make it light and dark because you can use like Lubellion and Assault Synchron, and then all of your Synchro monsters are unaffected by monster effects, and all of your monsters cannot be destroyed by battles. So it's a really good card. The Snake Eye deck cannot really deal with this card other than like Imperm, Underworld Goddess, or Subversion Snake Eye, which nobody plays really. Anyways, Bystial Dispatter, yeah, great card. Omega, I mean, I showcased why these cards are nice, right? Axial Synchro Stardust with Manadome Chilusogda, Martial Metal Marcher. Every single one of these cards I showcased in my combo video, as well as Zombie Vampire, Appaloosa, Axis Code, the only monster that he didn't summon. And then Celine, Dark, Lina, SP, and IP. All those cards are just no-brainers. I'm always going to like all of them every single match, so yeah, the extra deck was like calculated perfect. And if you want to play those cards, you are welcome to do so, but they're just like more bricks. So Dark is the Diabolos. It's just only really good when you summon Colossus, so it's kind of a neg 1. Chaos Emperor Dragon of Armageddon with Levineer, again, like really high like requirement monsters that are just bricks more often than not, and like Melody of Awakening Dragon I don't really recommend. Ready Fusion with Sandwich and Alvain, so a level 6 Dark and a level 2 Tuner. But the extra deck space is super tight, so that's the reason why I can't really play Ready Fusion and Instant Fusion. Then Underworld Goddess, again, extra deck space super tight. Tyrannic Seal with Striker Dragon and Chaos Space, as well as the Baby Dragon, White Dragon, Wyverburster, and Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Again, very tight extra deck space, but the cards are good in theory. Anyways, Gold Sarcophagus if like you really care about like summoning 1 Colossus, but if anything, I guess you can side 1 for more consistency post game 1 when you're going first, but it's a really bad card going second. And then Foolish Burial doesn't really do anything in this deck, so I don't recommend. Unless you're like Under Shifter, then it's basically Gold Sarcophagus 2.0. Ringo Worm, it's only good when you got Battery Man Solar, so I don't recommend. You basically play like 6 Battery Man Solars thanks to Small World. I really like this card. Everything in the deck bridges. It's ridiculous because you got like level 6 Darks, level 5 Darks, level 6 Darks that are Thunder, and then level 6 Light Thunder, level 4 Light Thunder, level 2 Dark. The Horus monsters, they also bridge with each other because they're different type, attribute, attack, defense, everything, but they're all level 8. So every path leads to Rome quite literally. And then finally tuning if you want more copies of Assault Synchron, which I do not recommend because you already have Small World for that. And also you don't want like too much redundancy because it's not really good. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.